All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, September 10th. We got a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, if you do want to fade me, all of that absolutely free down in the pinned comment. In terms of yesterday, a pretty fadeable night. We go 2-4. I guess the glass half full thought would be that Cubs-Braves first 5 under 5 was our largest play on the board, but it was also our most juiced play on the board, so nothing all that great here. That is now 2 days in a row in which we've kind of got it taken to us. We went on this really nice run. I think we got up to like 17-6, and now in the last couple days, yuck. So let's do a little bit better today. Our ride of the day doesn't make the vibe any better here. Unfortunately, Mr. K, got to drop the womp womp here. The Yankees money line and the Phillies money line, that does not come through in terms of a parlay. We had the Yankees in our plays as well, so we both felt that one. The Phillies did come through, but the ride of the day doesn't come through from Mr. K. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it is very simple. All you have to do is use that hashtag ride of the day down in the comments. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day and give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to roll and ride with your plays, and you can go on a little bit of a streak. If you lose, well, we just saw what happens, right? You do get the shout out. That's the good news. The bad news is we're talking about a loss, and you got to face the womp womp on the soundboard. So get those hashtag ride of the days down in the comments today. And I will mention, we rolled with the Royals yesterday and caught another L. Kind of like death by 1,000 paper cuts. This Royals team, we've been putting a lot into and not getting too much out. So there's a chance that the Royals are on the fringe of getting entered into this DMB graveyard. I saw a bunch of comments, like 4 or 5 comments from yesterday's video saying those Royals should be in there. And you know what? Starting to think you guys might be right. Now, before we do dive into the games today, I do want to let you know that H2H is coming out at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, NFL Pick Show, in which Tassos and I battle it out each and every week. Have a lot of fun doing that. This one was very, very fun. We went back and forth on a few different things and kind of went at each other's throats. So, yeah, go ahead and check that out. That is going to be live on the channel at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, so noon time. But, guys, let's go ahead and dive into game number 1 here. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We got the Rangers taking on the Brewers. This is one of our caches from yesterday. We had the over in this game. I don't think we're going to look in that direction today. We have Merrill Kelly on the mound for Texas. He's been very good, 1.6 ERA over his last 5. And he's going up against Freddie Peralta, who Freddie Peralta is averaging in his last 5. Well, he has not allowed a run in his last 5 starts, by the way. 1.8 hits per game. Pitching into, the 6th inning or 6 full innings. He's been looking really, really good. Now, where do we want to go in this one? Because he's probably due for some regression at some point. Right? And to regress from 0 runs earned isn't all that hard. You could allow 1 earned or 2 earned through 5, still have a decent outing, but it's regression. I do think that the Brewers are still somewhat worth peeking at here due to the fact that we're going to get a ton of fastballs and cutters out of Merrill Kelly. He'll even mix in the slider and the sinker. Those are pitches that this Brewers team hits very well, and throw in the fact that this Brewers squad is obviously good, right? They've now lost 2 straight to this Texas team. I don't envision a sweep here, so I don't mind the idea of backing the Brewers, but I don't think that they're going to absolutely clobber Merrill Kelly. I also lean towards that first 5 under 4.5. I think both starting pitchers can go out there and pitch fairly well in this spot today. So yeah, give me the Brewers and the first 5 under 4.5. All right, moving on, we got the A's taking on the Red Sox. This game's technically still going on right now. It's the bottom of, I believe, the 6th inning. Red Sox up 5-0 at the time of recording this. Yes, we are recording overnight. So, by the way, guys, I shouldn't even have to say this, but keep an eye on the lines. Do your own due diligence to try and find the best lines if these move and all that. Everything's subject to change. But we do know who's starting, at least for both these squads, or at least who is projected to be starting. It's going to be Peyton Tolley for the Red Sox, going up against Mason Barnett here for the A's. Now, Barnett, 2 starts under his belt after coming up 4.5 ERA, allowing 5.5 hits. Tolley had 1 good start against Pittsburgh, and then Arizona kind of got to him. 3 innings pitched, 5 earned. I like the idea of some runs in this one to some degree, but I'm more confident in them coming from the Red Sox, who have obviously looked pretty good in this series so far, right? 7 runs in game 1. They already, again, through 6 innings, have 5 in this game number 2. I wouldn't sit here and think that Barnett's going to be able to blank them. He also does struggle against righties. You have a ton of righties towards the beginning of that order: Eaton, Bregman, Story, Gonzalez, Refsnyder. We'll see if that lineup continues to this game. But either way, I think that the Red Sox can kind of game plan for that. And he's going to throw a bunch of fastballs. Red Sox top 10 team against the fastball right now. So while I do still think the A's could score against Tolley, I'd much rather kind of cut this thing in half and trust the Red Sox. So give me them on the money line, as well as a potential look at their team total over, especially because regardless of the A's taxing of their bullpen or anything like that, it's still a really bad bullpen, and the Red Sox can get some late. It's like they have 9 full innings because of the away team to be able to score some runs here. Now, guys, before we do move on with the rest of the games, I want to talk to you about Underdog because they have so much going on right now. First off, they have a bunch of promos for the NFL, right? But secondarily, if you sign up today, you can use the link down in the description or the pinned comment. I'll put it in both places, or scan the QR code on your screen right now. You're going to get a free gimme pick. This will be something like a quarterback for 0.5 passing yards or snaps played or something like that you can add to your entry and just boost the payout, right? Secondarily, they're also doing a play 5, get $50 in bonus funds right away for new users. So all you'd have to do is play $5 and you can 10x it right away. Why wouldn't you go check that out? Again, that link will be down in the description as well as the pinned comment, or scan that QR code right there. They're making some serious innovations with this product, and I'm very, very excited for it. So go check it out, guys. That is Underdog. Again, that link will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. Play 5, get $50, get a free pick, and a bunch of other promos that they're offering. How can you beat that? Go ahead and check it out. Let's jump back into these games. All right, Giants taking on the Diamondbacks here. We have Carson Seymour on the mound for San Francisco going up against Eduardo Rodriguez. Rodriguez is coming off of a couple, decent starts in his last few, but the ones that aren't decent are pretty damn bad, right? Like, he went 0 earned in 6 innings through against the Dodgers. Right before that, 5 earned through 2 1/3 against Milwaukee. Cleveland kind of got to him as well. And against Colorado in Coors, he actually pitched well. So it's like either Jekyll or Hyde right now. I would say that this San Francisco team struggles against lefties, so I probably ultimately lean towards the Diamondbacks, especially for the price that we're getting. And Carson Seymour on the other side of things is nothing to truly write home about. A few different switch hitters in this lineup as well. I think there's actually like 3 or 4 switch hitters in the lineup. He struggles against lefties, so that's going to be pretty damn big. He also throws a ton of sinkers. This is a Diamondbacks team that hits the sinker pretty damn well, so I like the idea of the Diamondbacks scoring some runs. I'd lean over 8.5 because 1, Diamondbacks bullpen stinks out loud, and 2, Eduardo Rodriguez at any given moment can also get hit up, right? So I like that over, but if you do want to just shrink it down to looking at the Diamondbacks team total over, I think they could put up somewhat of a respectable number today. So yeah, I'm gonna lean towards that Diamondback side and or their team total over. I also like the idea of Geraldo Perdomo and his hits, runs, and RBIs. There's not a pitch that this kid's gonna throw, Seymour, in which he doesn't hit all that well. And also throw in the fact that he's already pitched in relief against his Diamondbacks team, and they tagged him. I think they hit 2 or 3 home runs off of him in a couple innings. So I like the Diamondbacks tomorrow. And when I say tomorrow, keep in mind that we're recording this at 12:15 a.m., so technically today. Angels and the Twins, I mean, we sure know how to call them. In game number 1, we liked the idea of the under, and that was a 12-3 win, right? Like I said, at the time of recording right now, Angels are up 12-0. So we've liked the under in both of these games, and one team scored at least 12 runs in each of those. But guess what? I think we might go right back to it. This is a spot in which I've said over and over again, not my favorite matchup, not the sexiest matchup for me on the board. So I don't think that we actually get down ourselves in terms of that under. But what I will say is I still think this Angels offense is a little bit more consistent than Minnesota. They have Soriano on the mound, who is a decent pitcher. 3 of his last 4 starts, he's actually allowed 0 earned. Houston, Texas, Athletics, and Dodgers, like some decent teams. And throw in the fact that this is a Minnesota team that just like kind of stinks in general. I don't necessarily mind the idea of, the Angels, but the bullpen worries me. Their offense, worries me too, to some degree. Taj Bradley's not all that great, but he's good against righties. There's a lot of righties in this lineup, so I temper my expectations a little bit, but yeah, it's going to be the Angels in the under for me. Maybe we just look like a Twins team total under. That way we don't have to worry about anything other than Soriano going out there and pitching well. All right, we have the Orioles taking on the Pirates here. Paul Skeens Day. He's going up against Tyler Wells. I think we know who has the starting pitching advantage here in this spot. And realistically, I think that it makes sense why this Pirates team is favored by, I guess favored so much. They are obviously a good team. Now they're coming off of, 4 straight losses? They lose to Milwaukee. They lose today or yesterday against this Baltimore team in a low-scoring affair. I would say that they bounce back with Skeens on the bump. But you still can't fully trust their offense, right? So I would say if there's any way, shape, or form that we can back Paul Skeens, that might be the direction to go in. So maybe a Baltimore first 3 team total under. I believe you can get that at 0.5 at, just saw it a second ago. What was it? It was like -1 team props. Hold on. In terms of, first 3 under, -105. Actually, that's even better than when I just saw it a few minutes ago. I think it was -115. So -105 for him to blank this Orioles team through the first 3. We've done that with Crochet a bunch. I don't necessarily mind it here. It's not like this is all that great of an Orioles offense. Including the last 4 games, they've only scored, I think it's 15 runs over the last 4 games. So, that's less than 5 runs per game. Just less than 4 runs per game as well. So don't really trust the offense against a guy like Skeens, and they've only seen him. The guys in this team, I believe, only has like 3 plate appearances against them. So imagine being going up against Paul Skeens, who's already filthy, but also never have seen his pitching before. Probably a good spot to back him. Guardians and the Royals, we can go through this one pretty quickly because I don't think that we're actually going to get down with anything. But I would lean Guardians because this Royals team has driven my head through a wall. I also don't mind the under. You have a left-hander on the mound for Cleveland in Logan Allen. Has he been all that great? No, but this Royals team does struggle against the left hand. We even saw it today. Jonathan Bolin is the opener, and then it looks like he's going to hand it off to Luinder Avila. 2 pitchers here, but I also still don't fully trust or believe in this Guardians offense. Even though, yes, 2 days ago they did score a lot, they ended up winning a 2-0 game yesterday, right? So to me, I still think an under 8 is at play here. The starters may not be all that fantastic, but the bullpens aren't all that bad on the side of things either. So yeah, it's going to be under 8, but again, I'm leaning Guardians simply because there's a chance that, right down there, guys, the Royals, if we were to pull the trigger on them in this spot, we could be getting our etching stone thing out and making a nice little spot for them. So Guardians in the under. Marlins and Nationals, we got kind of screwed. I don't want to make excuses, but we did get kind of screwed with this one yesterday. We ended up having Nationals team total under, and we placed that when Yuri Perez was listed as a starting pitcher. Changed to Adam Mazur, and I would never have made that play had it been him. So let's look at this just like we did yesterday. Now it's Jake Irvin on the mound for Washington, but still Yuri Perez, I would give him the nod as the better pitcher, and I would still look at the Marlins. You're looking at a lot more juice than you did yesterday, which makes sense with the anticipation of that starting pitching change. But I also don't mind the idea of Washington team total under again. Now, yes, this team is scoring, and they've been scoring a decent amount of runs. They're a little bit more consistent lately, I guess, to some degree, right, than people might give them credit for. I believe they scored at least 4 runs in 7 of their last 10. They scored at least 5 in 6 of their last 7. But I don't mind the idea of they're under 4.5. I think that Perez can do everything that we talked about in yesterday's video and be able to kind of suppress them. So give me the Marlins and Washington team total under. I believe we had a player prop in this one that we liked. Brady House, I like his unders, and then there was an over. Maximo Acosta, I also like him in terms of his pitch mix rating against Jake Irvin. So unders for House, Acosta potentially looking at some overs for him in terms of player props. Phillies taking on the Mets, like we kind of already talked about when we recapped yesterday in the ride of the day. The Phillies are coming off the win. They end up scoring 9 runs, winning this one 9-3. Now we have Chris Sanchez on the bump going up against Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes, 2.4 ERA over his last 5 starts. Sanchez looks like he's righted the ship. Remember, he kind of struggled for a few starts there, but again, it looks like he's kind of righted the ship. Last 2 starts, 7 innings pitched, 1 earned against Atlanta and Miami. Sanchez is a stud. I believe that. I think we all know that. I do lean towards the Phillies, but I kind of like the idea of an over 7.5 here. Even if the Phillies, who do hit, Clay Holmes' pitch mix pretty well, even if they're able to kind of go out there and carry most of the water here and carry most of the weight, then sure, I still like the over. But check this out, guys. Using our NFL dashboard, our MLB dashboard, which can be found at GuyBostonSports.com. Head to the members area. I have it right here, GuyBostonSports.com. MLB.com. Head to the members area, go to MLB Dashboard, $6.99 per month. We're running a bunch of jobs right now to update it for tomorrow, aka when you're watching this video, so I'm in the back end version. But check this out. Fastball, slider, and changeup. Fastball, slider, changeup. All pitches that this Mets team hits fairly well. So I do think the Mets may be able to, surprisingly enough, get some off of Sanchez. So I like that over 7.5, trusting, the offenses over two damn good pitchers. And I guess Sanchez is damn good and a serviceable pitcher in Clay Holmes. All right, we got the Yankees taking on the Tigers. I'm not exactly understanding this price. Maybe I should be, but I'm just not. Right now, we have the Yankees as massive, massive favorite, to which I will admit that I think they should be favored. Do not get me wrong there. But realistically, Rodon has been lights out, but this is a Tigers team that is all over lefties over the last 30 days. You know what I mean? Now, the pitch mix, sure, that could be a little worrisome, but still, based on how good they've been against lefties, how are we potentially looking at picking up, I guess in this spot, plus 160 on the Tigers? So it's going to be the Tigers for me. Now, Jack Flaherty's on the mound against Rodon. I don't have too much faith in Jack Flaherty against this Yankees lineup, especially the fact that he struggles against the left hand. You obviously have Bellinger, Rice, Chisholm, Grissom, a lot of lefties. Not exactly the most powerful bats there, but I do think that, we could see a good game out of some of these lefties. So I think that he'll allow some runs, right? Neither one of these bullpens is all that fantastic. And look what we just saw yesterday. One big inning put this game up and over, right? Detroit ended up winning 12-2. It was, 2-2 in the 7th or something? So yeah, I think something like that could potentially happen again. So give me the over 8 in this spot. Is there any 7.5s out there right now? 7.5 on Novig for minus 130. That could be something that kind of tickles my fancy as well. I think that this is going to be a spot in which the Tigers can get a couple off of Rodon, and then who's to say what the Yankees do against Jack Flaherty, guy that's going to hum fastball in there. They should be able to hit it pretty well. In the slider, they're middle of the pack right now, right? Actually, top 10 team, and even the knuckle curve, they're number 6th. Maybe it's Yankees team total over. We don't have to worry about or involve Rodon. Keep an eye on the final plays. There's some potential here. All right, we got the Blue Jays taking on the Astros. Jason Alexander on the bump for the Astros. He's been fairly consistent. He has allowed a decent amount of runs lately. He's given you like 5 innings, 3 earned. Going up against Jose Barrios, who is coming off of 2, I guess you could say 1 decent start, and then Cincinnati, not so much. I mean, he only had 2 earned, but I believe like 5 or 6 came in while he was pitching. I think this is a spot in which the Blue Jays, still at home, probably the spot that I like. But I would lean over 8, maybe more so than that. Both of these pitchers don't exactly have the best numbers. Now, really small sample size for Jason Alexander, but Barrios, if I think the Blue Jays are going to win and he doesn't have the best of numbers against this Houston team, then it would have to be somewhat of a high-scoring game, right? And again, what if he does fall into form with kind of the majority of what he's done? Like 3 of his last 4 or 5 starts really haven't looked all that great. And Alexander, if he walks in there and gives you 5 innings, 3 earned, I definitely don't mind that for an over 8.5, right? So Blue Jays, to me, still the better offense, still the more trustworthy team. That's why we lean in that direction. But ultimately, I think Houston, though their offense has been kind of meh lately, I still think that they could actually put up somewhat of a serviceable number against Barrios here in this spot, which honestly might be worthy of the psycho alert alarm. This has been a pretty rough offense lately, so I'm glad we went back and got that in there. All right, so we don't have odds for this yet because I think we're still waiting on pitching from the Cubs side of things. I see Taillon's name out there, but again, not confirmed. Chris Sale looks like he is expected to be pitching for the Braves. As of right now, yeah, I would lean towards the Braves. I can only imagine what that price will be. So no leans or anything like that as of right now. But again, if we do roll with something in this spot, I'll make sure to update you guys in the final plays, which you can find in the pinned comment. But as of right now, nothing to go off of for this one because we don't have any odds right now. And I hate to do it 2 games in a row, but similar situation here. Ryan Pepiot listed for Tampa Bay. It looks like Sean Burke may get the start for the White Sox. If that's the case, it would be something that I might consider somewhat of a first 5 under. Kind of crazy because I do think that, Burke hasn't been all that fantastic, but I like Pepiot. I think that, Sean Burke is a serviceable pitcher, and neither one of these offenses I fully trust. So maybe that's a consideration, but we're talking out of, one side of our mouth here. We don't even know if Sean Burke's starting. So same as the Braves and the Cubs. Keep an eye on the final plays. If we rolled anything in this game, obviously we'll kind of specify there. But unfortunately, at the time of recording, we don't have odds because we're still waiting on some pitchers and question marks that, have not been solved yet. All right, Padres taking on the Reds. Reds get the win yesterday, 4-2. Now we have Andrew Abbott on the mound going up against Nick Pivetta. Obviously, two really, really good pitchers, and it's not like either one of these offenses is all that fantastic. You know, San Diego struggles against the left hand. We even saw that today, right? And throw in the fact that, Littell was the righty, so I guess we didn't see that. But either way, you know, and this Cincinnati offense kind of struggles as well against right hand. So like this spot here for a potential first 5 under. For the odds, I would only really consider the Reds right now. San Diego's offense just does not seem all that trustworthy to me, right? So to me, this is a spot in which, you probably just look at them because of the price tag. Pivetta is obviously very, very good, but I don't want to trust a taxed bullpen at that price. And you know, Pivetta, again, probably does pitch well, but again, it's a little, I keep saying but again, it is just a little too expensive. So Reds by default, but that first 5 under 4.5 could definitely be something that we consider. I also don't mind the idea of a first 3 under, depending on the price you can get there. I think you could probably get a better price with the first 5 under, but first 3, each of these pitchers to go out there and dominate through the first time through the lineup, you might want to sign me up for that one. That one does not sound all that half bad. All right, Mariners taking on the Cards here. I would say that this is a spot in which we trust Logan Gilbert. He's obviously the better pitcher. He's looked really good against the Cardinals. I mean, last time we saw them was last year, but 8 innings pitched, 10 Ks, 2 earned. I think it was a home run, actually, that he let up. He's going up against Michael McGreevy, who has one good start over his last 5, but ultimately a 3.2 ERA over his last 5. He's going to throw a lot of sliders. That's a pitch that this Seattle team's hitting pretty well, so yeah, Seattle, some sort of a parlay piece, I guess, if you want to look at it from that direction. But even still, like, that's a pretty hefty price tag. And, you know, crazier things have happened, you know, than this Mariners team winning, or excuse me, the Mariners team losing. So they would be a parlay piece. That's all I'd look at. But I don't think that it's something that I'm all too over the moon about, which is unfortunate because the next game's kind of in the same boat as well. Dodgers taking on the Rockies. Blake Snell, Kyle Freeland. I think Kyle Freeland could be all right here, but this is actually a Dodgers team that hits lefties pretty damn well, and he's obviously a lefty that's going to throw a lot of fastballs. The knuckle curve's another pitch that they hit fairly well. I'm going to say Dodgers parlay piece. We don't even have a graphic for it. We can actually probably adapt this one. Yeah, how about that? Boom. Dodgers parlay piece. I hate to end off with 2 kind of duds here, but like, what are you going to do, right? There's not enough for me to get to the Colorado side of things in terms of skill level, and I really don't love the idea of the Dodgers minus 333. Never mind the fact that we have them on the DMB graveyard. So yeah, Dodgers as a parlay piece is all that I would look at there. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you made it this far into the video, go ahead and comment 22. You made it 22 minutes in. Yeah, we were kind of quick through some of these, but that's because we're still waiting on some odds, and a couple of the games, the price was just out of control, right? So hope you guys do appreciate it. Comment 22 if you made it this far, and we'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.